Amid the rush of a city that never slows, one act of compassion turned a homeless man's despair into a new dawn. The Chicago morning hung heavy with gray clouds, the kind that seemed to press down on the city's spirit as much as its skyline. Wind whipped through the downtown streets, carrying the sharp bite of early cold, rustling discarded coffee cups and newspapers along the sidewalks. Horns blared in the distance, a constant pulse of impatience, while pedestrians hustled past in their puffy coats and scarves, heads bowed against the chill. Amid the chaos, tucked in a shadowed corner near a shuttered storefront, sat James. His weathered hands clutched a piece of cardboard, its edges frayed, the words, "Hungry, please help," scrawled in shaky marker. His grey beard was matted, his skin etched with lines carved by time and hardship. Layers of torn jackets and a threadbare hoodie did little to stop his shivering. His eyes, dull and distant, stared at the cracked pavement as if hope had long since drained away. Passers-by streamed around him, their gazes sliding past, rendering him invisible, a ghost in plain sight. No one stopped. No one spoke. Just the rhythm of footsteps and the occasional jingle of coins in a pocket, never for him. Before we dive in, drop a 1 in the comments if you're ready for an inspiring story, hit that subscribe button and stick around. There's a jaw-dropping twist at the end. Across the street, a figure moved against the current of the crowd. Hoodie pulled low, sunglasses shielding his eyes, Ronaldo blended into the urban blur. The soccer legend, known for his electrifying speed and dazzling goals, craved these quiet walks. No cameras, no fans, just him and the city's raw pulse. He'd always been drawn to the real, the unpolished, the places where life unfolded without a script. His sneakers scuffed the pavement as he wandered, hands stuffed in his pockets, breath fogging in the crisp air. He passed a newsstand, its headlines screaming about markets and politics, and a street musician strumming a worn guitar for a handful of coins. Then his eyes caught James. Something about the man's hunched shoulders, the way his hands trembled around that cardboard sign, stopped Ronaldo cold. He leaned against a lamppost, watching. The crowd flowed on, indifferent. A young woman in a red coat glanced at James, then quickened her pace. A businessman in a suit muttered into his phone, stepping wide to avoid the corner. Ronaldo's chest tightened. He knew that kind of invisibility, not from poverty, but from his own childhood, when dreams felt like luxuries and hunger was a familiar ache. He crossed the street, weaving through the swarm of bodies. His heart thudded, not with nerves but with purpose. James didn't look up as Ronaldo's shadow fell over him. The older man's fingers, red from cold, clutched the sign tighter. Ronaldo crouched, bringing himself to James's level. "Hey, brother," he said, voice low and warm. James's head lifted slowly, eyes cloudy with surprise. No one had spoken to him in days, maybe weeks. "You talking to me?" he rasped, voice brittle. Ronaldo nodded, a faint smile breaking through. "Yeah, man, what's your name?" James blinked, as if the question itself was foreign. "James," he mumbled, then coughed, a dry, hacking sound. Ronaldo's gaze softened. He saw the man's cracked lips, the dirt smudged across his forehead the way his shoulders seemed to carry a lifetime of defeat. "I'm Ronaldo," he said simply, no fanfare. James's eyes flickered, but there was no recognition. To him, Ronaldo was just a guy in a hoodie, not the global icon whose name echoed in stadiums. "You eaten today, James?" Ronaldo asked, settling onto the cold pavement beside him. James shook his head, staring at his cardboard sign. "Not since yesterday. Got a half sandwich from a dumpster." His voice cracked, shame creeping in. Ronaldo's jaw tightened, but he kept his tone steady. "That ain't right, man. Nobody should go through that." He glanced around, the city's rush a stark contrast to this quiet moment. A memory flashed, his own mother scraping together meals, the gnawing ache of an empty stomach before a practice. He pushed it aside, focusing on James. "Tell me about you," he said, leaning back against the wall. James hesitated, his fingers twisting the edge of his sign. "Ain't much to tell. Used to fix cars, had a shop, a wife, a kid. Then life fell apart." His voice trailed off, eyes glazing over. Ronaldo waited, letting the silence breathe. James's story came in fragments, each word heavy with loss. He'd been a mechanic for 20 years, proud of his greasy hands and steady work. His wife, Clara, died of cancer a decade ago. Their son drifted away, caught in addiction. The shop closed when James couldn't keep up with rent. Eviction followed, then the streets. 5 years out here, he said, voice hollow. Nobody cares about an old guy like me. They just want me gone. Ronaldo's throat burned. He saw his own father in James's tired eyes, the way pride could crumble under life's weight. He touched James's shoulder, firm but gentle. I see you, brother. And you ain't alone today. James's lips trembled, a tear cutting a clean streak through the grime on his cheek. He tried to speak, but only a choked sob came out. Ronaldo stood, brushing off his jeans. Come on, let's get some food. James looked up, startled. Me? I'm a mess. Ronaldo grinned, offering a hand. Don't matter, you're with me. James gripped his hand, his palm rough and cold, and struggled to his feet. His knees wobbled, but Ronaldo steadied him, arm around his shoulders. The crowd parted slightly, some casting curious glances at the odd pair, a scruffy older man and a fit guy in a hoodie. They walked slowly, James's steps halting, Ronaldo matching his pace. A block away, a neon sign blinked. Mike's Diner. The smell of bacon and coffee wafted out as Ronaldo pushed open the door, a bell jingling overhead. Inside, the diner was warm, its red vinyl booths and checkered floor a slice of classic Americana. A jukebox played a soft Springsteen tune, and the clink of dishes mixed with low chatter. Sarah, a waitress with a blonde ponytail and a tired smile, greeted them. Table for two? She asked, eyeing James's tattered clothes, but keeping her tone kind. Ronaldo nodded, guiding James to a booth in the back. James slid in, hands fidgeting as if he didn't belong. Sarah handed them menus, her eyes lingering on Ronaldo. She sensed something familiar but couldn't place it. Coffee? She offered. 2, please, Ronaldo said, then turned to James. Order anything, man. It's on me. James stared at the menu, overwhelmed. I don't know, he muttered. Ronaldo leaned in. How about a burger? Fries? Maybe some pie after? James nodded, a ghost of a smile flickering. Sarah scribbled the order, her curiosity growing. She'd seen plenty of do-gooders, but this guy was different, his presence quiet but commanding. As they waited, Ronaldo drew James out. He asked about the cars James used to fix, and the older man's eyes lit up, if only for a moment. Loved working on old Mustangs, James said, hands mimicking a wrench's twist. Had one myself, cherry red. Sold it to pay bills. Ronaldo listened, nodding, his sunglasses now tucked into his hoodie. He shared a story of his own, a beat-up soccer ball he'd cherished as a kid, kicking it barefoot on dirt fields. James chuckled, a rusty sound. You play ball, huh? He asked. Ronaldo just grinned. A bit. Their food arrived, plates piled high with burgers, crispy fries and ketchup bottles gleaming under the diner's lights. James stared at his plate, hands hovering, as if afraid it'd disappear. Go on, dig in, Ronaldo urged, biting into his own. James took a tentative bite, then another. His shoulders relaxed, color creeping into his face. Sarah refilled their coffees, watching from the counter. She nudged Mike, the diner's burly owner, who was flipping pancakes. That guy's something special, ain't he? She whispered. Mike grunted, peering over. Looks like trouble to me, bringing in a guy like that. Sarah rolled her eyes. You're too cynical, Mike. Look at him. He's making that man feel human again. Mike shrugged but kept an eye out, his spatula pausing mid-flip. Ronaldo, unaware of the exchange, focused on James. The older man ate slowly, savoring each bite, his hands less shaky now. Nobody's done this for me, James said, voice thick. Not in years. Ronaldo leaned forward, elbows on the table. That changes today, James. I'm not just here for lunch. I'm here to help you start over. James's fork froze midair. Start over? Me? His voice cracked, disbelief etched in every wrinkle. Ronaldo nodded, eyes steady. Yeah, you. I don't know how yet, but we'll figure it out. You got fight left in you. I can see it. James shook his head, tears welling again. I'm too old, too broken. Ronaldo reached across, gripping his wrist. Nobody's too broken, brother. Not when someone's got your back. The words hit James like a wave, his chest heaving. He wiped his eyes with a napkin, crumpling it in his fist. Sarah, clearing a nearby table, caught the moment and felt her own throat tighten. She'd grown up in a rough neighborhood, knew what it was to feel unseen. This stranger in the hoodie was doing more than buying a meal. He was giving James something rarer: hope. Ronaldo paid the bill, slipping Sarah a generous tip. She smiled, tucking it into her apron. You're a good guy, she said softly. Ronaldo just nodded, helping James to his feet. You work here long? He asked her. Sarah shrugged. Couple years. Pays the bills. Ronaldo glanced at James, then back at her. You ever do volunteer work, Sarah? She raised an eyebrow, caught off guard. Not really. Why? He smiled faintly. Just a thought. Might need folks like you for something I'm planning. Her curiosity piqued, but before she could ask more, Ronaldo guided James toward the door. The bell jingled again as they stepped into the cold. James pulled his hoodie tighter, but his steps had a hint of purpose now. Ronaldo clapped a hand on his shoulder. We ain't done, James. Let's take a walk. I got an idea. Outside, the clouds hadn't lifted, but something in the air felt different. James shuffled beside Ronaldo, his cardboard sign left behind at the diner. Sarah watched them go, her hand on the counter, wondering who this man was and what he'd sparked. Mike, wiping down the grill, muttered, Hope he knows what he's doing. Sarah shot him a look. He does, Mike. Trust me. As Ronaldo and James disappeared into the city's pulse, a quiet resolve burned in Ronaldo's chest. This wasn't just a chance encounter. It was the start of something bigger. For James, for himself, and maybe for others yet to cross their path. The streets of Chicago kept moving, but in that moment, two lives had begun to shift, tethered by a single act of seeing what others ignored. The Chicago streets buzzed with midday energy, but for James, the world felt quieter, softer, as he walked beside Ronaldo. The cold still nipped at his fingertips, but the warmth from the diner's burger and coffee lingered in his chest. His tattered hoodie sagged, heavy with years of grime, yet his steps carried a faint spark, something new, kindled by Ronaldo's words. Ronaldo, hoodie up and sunglasses back on, kept a steady pace, his arm brushing James's now and then, a silent reassurance. The city's pulse thrummed around them. A delivery truck rumbled past, a street vendor hawked hot dogs, and a group of kids laughed, chasing a stray basketball. James's eyes darted, taking it all in, as if seeing the world anew. He clutched the edge of his sleeve, unsure where they were headed, but trusting the man beside him. Ronaldo's voice broke the silence. You ever think about what you'd do if you got a fresh start, James? James's brow furrowed, his breath catching. Ain't thought like that in years, he muttered. Used to dream about fixing cars again, maybe having a little garage, but that's gone. Ronaldo glanced at him, a glint in his eyes. Not gone, brother, just buried. We're gonna dig it up. They turned a corner, the skyscrapers giving way to a quieter block where a low brick building stood, its sign reading Hope Haven Community Center. Murals of sunflowers and smiling faces splashed color across its walls, a stark contrast to the gray city. Ronaldo pushed open the glass door, and a wave of warmth hit them, mingled scents of fresh paint, coffee, and something baking. Inside, the center hummed with life. A group of teens shot hoops in a small gym, their sneakers squeaking. A woman at a desk typed furiously, while volunteers sorted clothes in a back room. James froze, his hands twisting together. What's this place? He whispered, voice tight. Ronaldo grinned. This is where second chances start, man. Come on. He led James to the desk, where a woman in her 40s looked up, her braids tucked into a neat bun. Ronaldo, she exclaimed, standing. Didn't expect you today. Her eyes flicked to James, warm but curious. Who's your friend? Ronaldo's hand rested on James's shoulder. This is James. He's family now. James, meet Lisa. She runs this place like a pro. Lisa's smile widened, crinkling her eyes. Welcome, James. Any friend of Ronaldo's is home here. James nodded, his throat too tight to speak. He felt out of place, his worn clothes screaming his story to everyone in the room. But Lisa's gaze held no judgment, only kindness. She gestured to a couch nearby, its cushions sagging but clean. Sit, both of you. Tell me what's up. Ronaldo explained, his voice low but firm. He told her about meeting James, the diner, the spark he saw in the older man's eyes. He's got skills, Lisa. Used to fix cars. Been through hell, but he's ready to fight. We need to help him stand up. James stared at his hands, calloused and scarred, as Ronaldo spoke. The words felt like a dream. Too big, too impossible. Lisa listened, nodding, her pen tapping the desk. All right, she said finally. James, you willing to work with us? We've got programs, job training, counseling, a place to crash if you need it. James's head snapped up. Work? Me? His voice cracked, hope and fear colliding. Lisa leaned forward. Yeah, you. We don't give handouts. We give hand-ups. You in? James glanced at Ronaldo, who nodded. I'm in, he said, barely audible. Lisa clapped her hands. Good. First things first. Let's get you cleaned up. You can't start fresh feeling like the past is still on you. She called over a volunteer, a lanky guy with a Cubs cap. Tony, take James to the showers. Find him some fresh clothes. Tony grinned, offering a fist bump James didn't quite return. This way, man. James hesitated, looking back at Ronaldo. Go on, brother, Ronaldo said. I'm right here. As James followed Tony, Ronaldo turned to Lisa. He's got heart, but life's beat him down. What can we do long term? Lisa's eyes softened. We'll start with basics. Shelter, food, a job. He's got mechanic skills, so maybe we can hook him up with a garage. But he'll need support, Ronaldo. This ain't a quick fix. Ronaldo nodded, his jaw set. I'm in for the long haul, whatever he needs. Lisa raised an eyebrow. You're something else, you know that? Most folks write a check and walk away. Ronaldo shrugged, a faint smile tugging his lips. Checks don't change lives. People do. Meanwhile, James stood under the community center's shower, hot water cascading over him for the first time in years. Steam rose, blurring the tiled walls. He scrubbed his skin raw, watching dirt swirl down the drain as if washing away the streets themselves. Tony had left a stack of clothes, jeans, a flannel shirt, socks, even a pair of sneakers. James dressed slowly, the fabric soft against his skin. He caught his reflection in a small mirror and froze. The man staring back was thinner, older, but his eyes held a flicker of the mechanic he'd been. His hands shook as he touched his beard, tangled and grey. Who are you now? He whispered to the glass. Back in the main room, Ronaldo waited, chatting with a group of kids who'd recognized him despite the hoodie. They begged for soccer tips, and he obliged, juggling an imaginary ball, his laughter filling the space. James emerged, his steps tentative, the new clothes hanging loosely but clean. Ronaldo's face lit up. Look at you, man. Sharp as hell. James ducked his head, a shy smile breaking through. Feel like a new guy, he mumbled. Lisa led them to a small office where she pulled out a folder. James, we've got an opening for a maintenance worker here at the center. It's simple stuff, fixing doors, cleaning, maybe some light repairs. Pays enough to start, and we'll train you for more if you want. What do you say? James's breath hitched. A job, a purpose. His mind raced, memories of wrenches and engines clashing with years of rejection. I can do that, he said, voice steadier now. Ronaldo clapped his shoulder. That's my guy. You're gonna kill it. Lisa handed James a schedule, her voice gentle. Start tomorrow. And we've got a dorm room upstairs for you. No more streets, okay? James's eyes welled, his fingers gripping the paper like a lifeline. Thank you, he choked out. Both of you. Ronaldo waved it off. This is just step one, brother. We got more coming. As they left the office, a familiar figure appeared at the center's door. Sarah, the waitress from Mike's diner, her blonde ponytail bouncing. She held a tray of donuts, her apron swapped for a denim jacket. Ronaldo, she called, surprised. What's this about volunteering? Ronaldo grinned, waving her over. Sarah, perfect timing. Meet James, my man here. We're building something special, and I figured you'd want in. Sarah set the tray down, her eyes flicking between them. You weren't kidding at the diner, huh? What's the plan? Ronaldo explained, his voice alive with purpose. He told her about Hope Haven, James's fresh start, and his dream to give others the same shot. We need folks like you, Sarah. People who care. You game? Sarah's cheeks flushed, her usual sarcasm softened. Yeah, I'm game. Been a while since I did something that mattered. James watched, quiet but moved. This stranger, this waitress, was joining his story now, pulled in by Ronaldo's fire. Ronaldo had one more stop in mind. James, you ready for a real glow-up? He asked, steering them toward a barbershop a few blocks away. The sign read, Tony's Cuts, its windows plastered with faded posters of NBA stars. Inside, the air smelled of aftershave and pomade, a radio playing classic Motown. Tony, a stocky man with a goatee, greeted Ronaldo with a bear hug. My man, who's this? Ronaldo introduced James, his voice proud. This is James, Tony. He's starting fresh, and we need you to work your magic. Tony sized James up, his grin wide. Say no more. Hop in the chair, James. James sat, the leather creaking, his hands gripping the armrests. Tony draped a cape over him, scissors flashing. What's the vibe, man? Clean cut? Fade? James shrugged, overwhelmed. Something. Simple. Tony winked at Ronaldo. I got you. As Tony worked, clipping the matted beard and shaggy hair, James's face emerged, rugged but kind, with deep-set eyes that held a story. Ronaldo sat nearby, scrolling his phone, but his glances at James were full of pride. Sarah, who'd tagged along, leaned against the wall, nibbling a donut. You do this a lot, Ronaldo? She asked, curious. He looked up, thoughtful. Not enough. Grew up with nothing, Sarah. Saw my mom struggle, my friends fall through the cracks. If I don't give back, what's the point of all this? His voice was raw, unguarded. Sarah nodded, her own memories stirring. Nights in a cramped apartment, her dad out of work. Fair enough, she said softly. Tony spun James's chair toward the mirror. Check it, man. James stared, his breath catching. The beard was gone, his hair cropped neat, his face clean. He touched his jaw, tears brimming. That's me? He whispered. Ronaldo stood, clapping. That's you, brother. Looking like a champ. They stepped back into the street, James's head higher, his flannel shirt tucked in. Sarah walked with them, her energy lighter. Your trouble, Ronaldo, she teased. Dragging me into this heartwarming stuff. He laughed, the sound bright. Stick with me, Sarah. We're just getting started. James listened, a warmth spreading through him. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a burden, but as a man with a future. Ronaldo's phone buzzed, and he glanced at it, his smile widening. All right, James, one more thing before we call it a day. You trust me? James nodded, no hesitation. With my life. Ronaldo's eyes softened. Good. Tomorrow, we're taking this to the next level. Rest up, man. You're gonna need it. Back at Hope Haven, Lisa showed James to a small dorm room, clean with a single bed, a lamp, and a window overlooking the murals. James sat on the mattress, its springs creaking, and ran his hands over the blanket. This real? He asked, voice trembling. Lisa smiled from the doorway. As real as it gets, James. Sleep tight. She left, and James lay back, staring at the ceiling. His body ached, but his heart felt full. He thought of Ronaldo's grin, Sarah's kindness, Lisa's confidence in him. The streets had stripped him bare, but today, something was growing, a seed of hope, fragile but alive. As he drifted to sleep, the city's hum faded, replaced by a quiet dream of engines roaring back to life. The morning light slipped through the dorm room's window at Hope Haven, painting soft stripes across James's blanket. He stirred, his body stiff but rested, the kind of rest he hadn't known in years. The mattress, though simple, felt like a luxury compared to the cold pavement he'd called home. He sat up, running a hand over his freshly shaved face, still startled by its smoothness. The room smelled faintly of pine cleaner, and outside, birds chirped over the distant hum of Chicago traffic. James's eyes traced the room, a small desk, a lamp, a stack of donated books. It was modest, but it was his. For the first time in too long, he wasn't waking up to survival. He was waking up to possibility. He dressed in the flannel and jeans from yesterday, the fabric still crisp, and caught his reflection in a small mirror. The man staring back wasn't the ghost of the streets. He stood taller, his eyes brighter, a flicker of the mechanic he'd been. "You got this," he whispered, testing the words. They felt foreign, but true. A knock at the door broke his thoughts. "James, you up?" It was Lisa, her voice warm through the wood. "Breakfast's ready. Someone's here for you." His heart skipped. Ronaldo. Downstairs, the community center buzzed with its usual rhythm. Kids laughing in the gym, volunteers sorting canned goods, the clatter of dishes from the kitchen. James stepped into the common room, and there was Ronaldo, leaning against a table, a black cap tilted back, his grin wide as ever. He wore a plain grey hoodie, but his presence filled the space like a spotlight. "Morning, champ," Ronaldo called, tossing James a playful salute. James's face broke into a smile, something that felt easier now. "Didn't expect you so early," he said, his voice steadier than yesterday. Ronaldo laughed, clapping his shoulder. "Gotta keep you on your toes, man. Big day today." Lisa joined them, holding a tray of bagels and coffee. "He's been here 10 minutes hyping up the kids," she said, rolling her eyes but smiling. "You ready for work, James?" James nodded, gripping the edge of his flannel. "Ready as I'll ever be." But Ronaldo's eyes sparkled with something more. "Work's just the start, brother. I got a surprise for you. Finish your coffee and let's roll." They sat at a table, the aroma of fresh bagels mixing with the bitter tang of coffee. James spread cream cheese on his, savoring each bite, no longer afraid it'd be his last. Ronaldo sipped his coffee, watching him. "You look different already, man. Like you're carrying less weight." James paused, his knife hovering. "Feels like it too. Never thought I'd sit at a table like this again." His voice was soft, raw. Lisa chimed in, setting down her mug. "You're doing great, James. Maintenance starts today. Fixing a leaky sink, cleaning some windows. Small stuff, but it's yours." James nodded, a knot of pride swelling in his chest. A job, a purpose. Ronaldo leaned forward, elbows on the table. "That's step one, but I told you we're going bigger. You trust me?" James met his eyes, no hesitation. "Yeah, always." Ronaldo's grin widened. "Good. Let's hit the road." They stepped outside, the Chicago air crisp but kinder under a clearing sky. Sarah was waiting by Ronaldo's car, a modest black SUV, nothing flashy. Her denim jacket was zipped up, her blonde ponytail swinging as she waved. "Didn't think I'd miss the party, did you?" she teased, sliding into the back seat. James chuckled, a sound that surprised him. "You're in on this too?" Sarah shrugged, her smile warm. "Ronaldo's got a way of pulling people in. Couldn't say no." Ronaldo started the engine, classic rock humming through the speakers. "Buckle up, James. This ride's gonna change things." James climbed in, his hands fidgeting, excitement and nerves tangling in his gut. The city blurred past. Tall buildings, neon signs, street vendors grilling sausages. James watched it all, feeling like a passenger in a new life. Sarah leaned forward. "You nervous, James?" He nodded, honest. "Yeah, but the good kind." Ronaldo glanced at him, nodding. "That's the spirit, man." The drive took them out of downtown, past the urban sprawl, to a quiet suburb where trees lined the streets and modest houses sat on small lots. James's brow furrowed as they slowed near a corner lot, a single-story house with fresh white paint and a tidy lawn. A picket fence framed it, and a small porch held 2 rocking chairs. Ronaldo parked, turning to James. "We're here." James blinked, confused. "Where's here?" Ronaldo didn't answer, just handed him a key, its metal cool and heavy. "Go check it out." James's heart pounded as he stepped out, Sarah and Ronaldo trailing behind. The lawn smelled of fresh-cut grass, and a neighbor, an older woman with gray curls and a cardigan, waved from her porch. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she called, her voice kind. James froze, the key burning in his palm. "Ronaldo, what is this?" he asked, voice trembling. Ronaldo's hand rested on his shoulder. "Your new home, brother. It's yours." James's knees buckled, but Ronaldo steadied him. "Mine?" he whispered, tears already pooling. Sarah's eyes glistened as she stepped closer. "Told you he's trouble," she said, her voice thick. Ronaldo laughed softly. "It's not much, James, but it's got a bed, a kitchen, a roof, water, power, everything. The deed's in your name." James clutched the key, his breath hitching. "Why? Why me?" Ronaldo's face softened, his voice low. "Because you're worth it. Because I know what it's like to need a hand. This ain't charity, it's a chance." James's tears fell freely now, cutting tracks down his face. He turned to the house, its windows catching the sunlight, and took a shaky step toward the porch. The neighbor, Emma, crossed her yard, holding a plate of cookies. "I'm Emma," she said, her smile warm. "Retired teacher. Heard you're moving in. Thought you'd like some sweets." James took the plate, his hands trembling. "Thank you, ma'am," he managed, his voice breaking. They stepped inside, the hardwood floors creaking underfoot. The living room was small but cozy, a couch, a coffee table, a TV on a stand. The kitchen had a stove, a fridge, and a sink that gleamed. A bedroom in the back held a bed with fresh linens, a dresser, and a window overlooking a tiny backyard. James walked through, touching everything, the walls, the counter, the doorknobs, like he was afraid it'd vanish. "This is mine," he kept repeating, half to himself. Ronaldo nodded, leaning against the doorway. "All yours, man. There's a community garden out back, too. You can grow whatever you want." Sarah chimed in, her voice bright. "I'm no gardener, but I'll help you plant something." James turned to them, his eyes red but alive. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, voice raw. Ronaldo shook his head. "Don't thank me. Just live, man. That's enough." They spent the afternoon settling James in. Emma stayed, sharing stories of the neighborhood, kids who played tag in the street, block parties with barbecues. Sarah unpacked a box of kitchen supplies donated by Hope Haven, joking about her terrible cooking. Ronaldo carried in a toolbox, its red metal gleaming. "Thought you might need this," he said, winking. James's eyes lit up, his fingers tracing the wrenches inside. "For fixing things," he said, a spark of the old mechanic flaring. By dusk, the house felt alive, filled with laughter and the clink of glasses, apple cider, courtesy of Emma. James sat on the couch, the weight of the day sinking in. He looked at Ronaldo, Sarah, and Emma, strangers who'd become his lifeline. "I was nobody yesterday," he said softly. "Now I'm home." Ronaldo's hand found his shoulder. "You were never nobody, James. You just needed someone to see it." Back at Hope Haven that evening, the center hosted a small celebration. Lisa had spread the word, and volunteers gathered in the gym, string lights twinkling overhead. A banner read, "Fresh Start for James," hand-painted by the kids. Mike, the diner owner, showed up, grumbling but carrying a tray of burgers. "Sarah dragged me into this," he muttered, but his eyes softened when he saw James. Tony, the barber, was there too, high-fiving James. "Looking good, man," he said, grinning. Lisa took the mic, her voice echoing. "Tonight, we celebrate James. He's one of us now, a worker, a friend, a fighter." She handed James a small plaque, engraved with Fresh Start Award. The room erupted in applause, kids cheering, Sarah whistling. James held the plaque, his hands steady for the first time in years. "This is for all of you," he said, his voice strong, "and for Ronaldo. You didn't just give me a house, you gave me my life back." Ronaldo stood at the back, arms crossed, his cap low. He didn't need the spotlight. Seeing James's smile, the way he stood tall, was enough. Sarah sidled up, nudging him. "You're gonna make me cry, you know that?" Ronaldo chuckled. "You're tough, Sarah. You'll survive." but his eyes were misty too. Lisa joined them, her voice low. "You changed him, Ronaldo, and you're changing this place. Those kids are already talking about being like Ronaldo when they grow up." He shrugged, humble as ever. "Just doing what feels right." As the party wound down, James found Ronaldo by the door. "I got something for you," he said, pressing the plaque into Ronaldo's hands. "You earned this too." Ronaldo tried to protest, but James's eyes were firm. "You saw me when nobody else did. That's worth more than any award." Ronaldo took it, his throat tight. "We're even then, brother." Later, as Ronaldo drove back to the city, the skyline glittering under a starry sky, he thought about James's words. The plaque sat on the passenger seat, a quiet reminder. He'd won trophies, broken records, heard crowds roar his name. But this felt bigger. He thought of his own past, the dirt fields, the hunger, the dreams that carried him. Helping James wasn't just about one man, it was about proving the world could be better, one life at a time. Back at the house, James sat on his porch, Emma's cookies on a plate beside him. He watched the stars, the key to his home heavy in his pocket. For the first time in years, he didn't dread tomorrow. He felt alive, tethered to a future he could build. And somewhere in the city, Ronaldo smiled, knowing the real victory wasn't in the goals he'd scored, but in the hope he'd sparked. The story of James and Ronaldo in A New Dawn for James is more than a heartwarming tale of compassion. It's a mirror reflecting the power of human connection and the potential for change, even in the darkest moments. As I read through the chapters, I felt a whirlwind of emotions. Empathy for James's despair, admiration for Ronaldo's selflessness, and hope for the ripple effect of their encounter. The narrative, set against the gritty backdrop of Chicago's streets, captures the raw reality of hardship, but also the transformative impact of a single act of kindness. Below, I share my reflections on the story's emotional resonance and the practical lessons it offers for everyday life, grounded in American values of community, resilience, and giving back. The first thing that struck me was James's invisibility. Sitting on the sidewalk, clutching a cardboard sign, he was ignored by a bustling city. A poignant reminder of how society often overlooks those in need. His trembling hands and weary eyes painted a vivid picture of someone who'd lost not just a home, but his sense of worth. I felt a pang of guilt, recalling times I've hurried past a homeless person, avoiding eye contact. The story made me question, how often do we miss opportunities to see someone's humanity? Ronaldo's choice to stop, crouch down, and speak to James as an equal was a powerful act of recognition. It taught me that compassion starts with seeing others, not as problems to avoid, but as people with stories, dreams, and pain. In my own life, I can apply this by pausing to acknowledge those around me, whether it's a coworker struggling quietly or a stranger in distress. A kind word or a moment of listening can restore dignity in ways I might never fully grasp. Ronaldo's character resonated deeply, embodying the American ideal of using success to lift others. His humility, no flashy cars, no public fanfare, showed that true greatness lies in quiet, meaningful actions. When he shared his own struggles, from childhood poverty to the pressures of fame, I saw a man who hadn't forgotten his roots. This authenticity made his bond with James feel genuine, not performative. It reminded me that everyone, no matter their status, carries scars that shape their empathy. I can take this lesson into my life by staying grounded, remembering my own challenges when I'm tempted to judge others. Whether I'm mentoring a friend or volunteering, I want to act from a place of shared humanity, not superiority. Ronaldo's commitment to James, beyond a meal, to a job, a home, and a future, also showed that real help requires follow-through. I can apply this by making my support for others consistent, not just a one-time gesture. The supporting characters like Sarah, Lisa, and Emma added layers to the story's message about community. Sarah's evolution from a skeptical waitress to a volunteer showed how one person's compassion can inspire others. Her quip, "Your trouble, Ronaldo," hid a deeper truth. Kindness is contagious. Lisa's no-nonsense approach at Hope Haven reflected the American value of empowerment over charity, giving James a hand up through work and support. Emma, the neighbor with her plate of cookies, symbolized the warmth of a welcoming community. Together, they showed that change isn't a solo act. It takes a village. This hit home for me. as I often feel overwhelmed by the world's problems. The story taught me that I don't need to solve everything alone. I can join local efforts, food drives, shelters, or mentorship programs, and contribute to a collective impact. In my neighborhood, I plan to connect with neighbors, maybe start a small book club or cleanup day to build that sense of belonging. James's transformation was the story's emotional core, and it left me in awe of human resilience. From a man who'd given up, he became someone with a job, a home, and a renewed purpose. His tears when he saw his reflection in the barbershop mirror, or when he held the key to his house, captured the profound weight of regained dignity. I felt his joy and disbelief, as if I was standing in that modest living room with him. This taught me that no one is too broken to rebuild. In my life, I can apply this by supporting others through their setbacks, whether it's a friend facing job loss or a family member battling self-doubt. I'll encourage them to take small steps, celebrating each one, just as Ronaldo did for James. It also reminded me to be patient with my own struggles, trusting that persistence can lead to new beginnings. The story's biggest lesson is about the ripple effect of kindness. Ronaldo's actions didn't just change James, they inspired Sarah to volunteer, softened Mike's cynicism, and gave Hope Haven's kids a role model. This aligns with the American belief that individual actions can spark broader change. I felt uplifted, realizing that my choices, however small, can create waves. I can apply this by making kindness a habit, paying for a stranger's coffee, helping a coworker, or donating to a cause. These acts might inspire others, creating a chain reaction. The story also challenged me to rethink success. Ronaldo's joy came not from fame, but from seeing James smile. I want to measure my life by the impact I have on others, not just personal achievements. In practical terms, I'm motivated to get involved locally. I'll research community centers like Hope Haven, maybe volunteer at a soup kitchen or tutor kids after school. I'll also be more intentional about listening, asking people their stories instead of assuming I know them. The story showed that transformation starts with connection, and I want to foster that in my circles. Finally, it reminded me to stay grateful. James's awe at a simple bed or a hot meal put my own privileges in perspective. I'll keep a gratitude journal to stay mindful of what I have and share it when I can. If this story of James and Ronaldo touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to spread the love, share this video with your friends to inspire them, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that show the power of kindness. Drop a comment below. Tell us about a time you saw someone change a life with a simple act, or share how this story moved you. Let's build a community of hope together. Click that bell icon so you never miss an uplifting moment. Thanks for watching, and let's keep making the world a better place, one story at a time.